Warning, this episode contains strong language or mature themes. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to This Podcast is Uncalled For.
Well, the name of this podcast is Stuff Uncalled For?
This podcast is uncalled for.
Podcast, all right. Well,
what's uncalled for about it?
What we doing in Tijuana?
And you're like, what did you just say?
It's a bit of a slap in the face and an insult.
And then look, thank you back home.
Oh, that's going to be great for the football chart.
Yeah, it's kind of, what is that character from Guardians of the Galaxy who takes everything literally?
Because it always happens. It always happens.
That is uncalled for, Michael.
And now, your host for this podcast, Mike Chernevsky.
All right, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Happy to have Jamie here today. So, Jamie, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Jamie Morrow, and I am an actor and filmmaker here in Kansas City.
All right. And the main reason I brought us here today is we met a couple weeks ago at an IFC event, and you seemed to recognize me, and I had to think for a while what that possibly could be. And I'm thinking it might have been the actors showcase that the IFC does from time to time.
There we go. Yes, I knew that I had met you before. I just could not place it. That's one thing about my brain, is sometimes I'm really good at faces and I can't connect how or why I know somebody.
There we go. We established that. So how'd you get into, well, we'll tackle acting first and then filmmaking. So how'd you get into acting?
I got into acting pretty late compared to, I feel like, a lot of people here in Kansas City. A lot of people started in theater and then graduated into working in TV, film, commercials, and things like that. And I mostly played sports. And so there was this like little thing inside of me that was like, I want to be an actor. But I thought every kid wanted to be an actor. And so it wasn't until I went to college and I was like, I still want to be an actor. And so, yeah, that was kind of the start of that journey. I did one of those, have you ever wanted to act before? Do you want to be a star? So I went to one of those showcases, and at like 12 years old, it went terribly. It went from like bad agency here to bad agency. And yeah, it wasn't until I was in college that I really tried it again and had much more success because I was a little bit more of who I am.
Good deal. What, you don't mind me asking which sports you were participating in, do you?
I played soccer throughout high school and into a little bit of unofficial. I played for the K-State soccer team for a season when I was there before I dropped out. And I played a little bit of softball, but I was on a team that wasn't very good, and I had a wild pitcher, and she was a blast. It was the time when the pitchers were getting better than the hitters, and so that time frame.
Good deal. Do you softball's really not that big of a professional thing. Do you still follow soccer at all? Or?
No, it's one of those things. I cannot watch soccer. It just is not something that I enjoy watching. It is something that I enjoy playing, though. So okay. I feel for my parents having to watch that every weekend.
That's similar to me in track, actually. Track was son I did in high school, along with cross country and the football, the American type. Yeah, I cannot to this day watch a track match without getting bored. Now, football I can't watch for different reasons, which have already been expanded upon on this podcast. But soccer is a sport I enjoy watching and everything.
Good. Do you have a team that you enjoy?
Yeah, there's a local team called Santa Fe Wanderers that I've been a supporter of the last few years. I really like following the English soccer as well. See our Arsenal's, Aston Villa's, not so much Chelsea or Man United. No.
Yeah.
So good deal. Now talking about the filmmaking side of things and
Yeah.
get into that.
That journey is weird. I feel like as most actors end up filmmaking at some point, their stories are always interesting. So I had met a producer who needed some social media help, and I had been doing some of that work for another company. And so I was like, I would love to do it. So I started as their social media person. We were shooting in Ohio, and they were like, we want the social media person to come out and help. So I was like, sure, I'll take pictures and help however I can. So I went from being the social media person to having can I say bad words?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Okay. Like a shit storm of like a first day on set, and we lost half of our crew. But the first AD had seen me working and my work ethic go Midwest. That Midwest work ethic worked out for me. And he was like, I'm going to need you to second AD for me. And so I ended up becoming a second AD on that shoot. He completely trained me on what that is like. And I think as an actor, I really enjoyed that because I was helping prep the actors for their scenes, but also helping to make sure that we're on schedule and that they know what's next. And so I really, really enjoyed that. From there, I continued to train under him and then started being a PA on other people's sets, learning from them, and then wiggled my way into production coordinating, which I adore as well, because it's trying to make order out of chaos. And still at the end of the movie, you're like, we didn't make a movie. No, there's no way. So.
Wow. So have you directed at all, or?
I have not. That's something that I would be interested in exploring, but most likely from the perspective of maybe like co-directing, as I would love to be able to work with the actors in a way, but I admittedly probably can't speak to the crew in a way that they might understand, just like some directors have a hard time communicating with actors. And so I think co-directing would be really good with somebody who knows the crew side of things, that I can learn from them, and then they can learn from me of how to interact and engage with their actors.
Sure, yeah. To be a good director, and I know this from my experience, you do have to know how to handle both cast and crew, and
it's a tough job, and lots of people do one of those things well, and you know, if the director is really good with working with actors, usually the crew steps in, and you know, the director of photography really steps up and, you know, manages the crew. But it is a rare experience when someone can do both.
Yep. And as someone who does, I think, work good with both cast and crew, thank you very much for that. All right. Yeah. It's not easy. I'll tell you, it's a lot like it's the same basic principles as running a business. You know, you have to watch over everyone as the director, and especially if you're a slash like me, a writer slash producer slash director slash camera, and
Right.
all that, which really is the norm in the independent scene, I find. And
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you find that's from like the lack of the ability to bring other people in, or is it a lack of interest from other people to come help? I'm just always so curious, because I know like some people guard everything like it's their baby, and so they don't want anybody's hands touching it.
Right.
And then there's other situations to where you honestly like just, you know, want to shoot it, you want to get it done, and you don't want to wait for people.
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It always is. If two people say, oh, it's one thing, and it's always a little bit of both, I find.
Yeah.
So you want to co-direct, and anything else on the crew side that you might be interested in, like writing or?
Oh no.
Oh,
I definitely appreciate what writers do, because it's a skill that I really struggle with. And I think that's why I actually am a good producer or partner in creations of a project, because previously I worked with someone who would have really great ideas, but they weren't grounded in anything that was actually tangible or workable with. So it was like, this is a great idea, but how do we make it happen? And I find that I can ask the questions that help the other person figure out what they're wanting to do with the story. And I love that. There's a something in me that I love helping people help themselves by solely asking them the questions, less about like imposing my ideas on them, but asking maybe a leading question,
right,
for them to speak it for themselves, because then it's still theirs. And then they feel supported, because I think a lot of artists don't feel supported in their creation process, or they've done so much of the work by themselves that when it comes to screening, they haven't had any criticism up until the screening, and then it doesn't go well.
right.
You know, and then you can't learn. I think like a part of the filmmaking process is that it is a process. There are multiple stages in which you create the work. And I think that's literally the magic of filmmaking. It is a truth when people say like movie magic, like it amazes me every single time I've been on a set and like it comes together.
Yep, I agree, and can also add anyone that tells you that movie making is easy doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it means if it was easy for them, it was really hard for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah.
Let's talk about genre. Do you have a particular genre that you like to act in or work in?
Is paid a genre?
No.
No? Okay.
No, genre would be something like
No.
comedy
I know. I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy like a well-written horror. I had the opportunity to act in something that I had a good amount of time to like prep for the character. and really was able to like weave my story into what was already written and make even more sense for me, but also the director, because of what I was adding to it. And I really liked that. And it was so subtle of like what was happening, but because I had so much time to work on it, people still understood what was going on. Yeah. And I also just like one day I want to play like the villain. I really, really do. That's a goal.
Yeah. So, or how about comedy? What's your thoughts on?
I would love to be good at comedy, but you give me someone else's funny and that's really hard for me. You know, I feel like I'm kind of funny. But yeah, making someone else's funny and translating it for me is very difficult unless it's the same line, you know? Again, comedy actors just blow my mind.
Like Trevor.
Yeah. No, Trevor doesn't blow my mind. Don't boost his ego.
He is a comedy actor. So,
He is.
A real good one at that. So,
yeah.
How about more dramatic stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
That's everything for me. I eat that up. Because I don't know necessarily why. I think there's a part of the reason that I enjoy acting so much is for a really long time, I didn't feel like I had the opportunity to express myself as my true self, and acting in a way allows me to not only express my own feelings, but feelings that like a character would have that could potentially be different than me. And there's endless possibilities. And I think that's what's so fun, but also so hard about acting. I think a lot of people think that it's easy. You like learn your lines and, you know, everything's given to you on the page, but there's so much work to do. And I will say that I was a person who was like, yeah, I can memorize lines and I can say those things for you. But it was lacking what I feel like after training and doing voice work now has really changed in my work. My work is so much different. And I'm also doing work that I am proud of, not what I think other people want me to do. And that's super fun and very freeing.
Cool. One more genre I want to throw out there, sci-fi.
Oh yeah, like put me up in space. Yeah. Make me fight some aliens or make me an alien. I don't know.
All right.
Like, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love action adventure. I just did a film in London for 9 weeks at the end of 2021. Cool. That was kind of like a nod to the Goonies, but like with a mostly female cast. So it was a lot of fun crawling around caves with some fantastic people that I met on the set. Was great.
That is pretty cool. I haven't done the whole foreign travel thing yet. Probably won't, because I need to tell you the story of the last time I went flying anywhere. Yeah. So 2008, summer 2008. So good, a good while ago.
Yeah.
I was actually going up to Minneapolis for a weekend, and both to and from, I had to take connecting flights at O'Hare in Chicago. On the way to, the flight was delayed. We didn't get into Minneapolis till like 2-3 in the morning. So I was pretty tired and really unable to do what I was going up there for in the first place, which was to attend seminar on media reform, and I did get to a couple sessions and everything, including one with the Writers Guild people. This was about the time of the Writers Guild strike. And on the way back, this is what turned me off to flying, period. Flight was delayed, had to change flights in Minneapolis to get to Chicago so I could get to KCI on time. I get to O'Hare, I find that by doing so, I got myself kicked off the KCI flight. So I was stuck in Chicago overnight.
Yeah.
And the next morning they were kind enough to set up connecting flights. They gave me a choice. Okay, you gotta go back up north to Milwaukee or San Antonio.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds chaotic.
Yeah. Which was not a fun experience. It was hot as hell in San Antonio that day, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So that really turned me off, and have not stepped foot on it.
Yeah, I've definitely had some crazy flight experiences.
And the furthest I've gone for a film or video job was St. Louis.
There you go.
So
I took an excursion to Springfield for a commercial, and I was ranting and raving all week long because I thought I was going to get done early enough on Friday after the shoot to go down to Branson to see the Dolly Parton Stampede, but they kept me too long on set and I wasn't able to go, and it was maybe one of the most disappointing moments of my life. Not losing a role, just not being able to go see the Dolly Parton Stampede.
Big Dolly Parton fan. Okay. Then the next furthest I traveled for a job would have been Abilene, Kansas, to the Eisenhower Museum. And that was fun. It was with the same crew that I went to St. Louis with. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And I maintain the best video job or TV job I've ever had was interning at KCPT back in 10 years ago now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What's the weirdest job you've ever had?
The weirdest job ever, film or overall?
Oh, overall.
Overall? Oh boy, that is a toughie. That is a tough. Maybe working in a warehouse for
Okay.
a couple
What were you
years.
doing?
I was mostly a warehouse stocker, so putting stuff on shelves, making sure everything's in order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could probably qualify as weird. I've also worked as a security officer. I got plenty of stories there too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Cleaning floors, teaching chess.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, just before I got here, I was teaching a chess camp. So.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. I definitely think so. My weirdest production job definitely was that first movie in Ohio, because I had never really worked on like a film set that big before, but it was also very indie. So we all stayed at a house, and we bought air mattresses because there was no actual furniture in this house.
Right.
And we slept 3 to a room. It was absolutely insane. Looking back on it, we worked overnights. So we were, going to set around 5 or 6 and getting done about 5 or 6. And yeah, probably the weirdest month of my entire life.
Wow. Wow.
So.
Yeah. Any other creative avenues because I find a lot of actors also branch into other realms of creativity, like some are singers, some are models, writers.
And my ventures now are I am becoming a practitioner in Lesac vocal work. It's, I guess, traditionally for performers, but it's now used for anybody who's doing any sort of like speech or public speaking. And I hope to continue in that and become a teacher of it, because it really did revolutionize the work that I do as an actor, or how I approach the work as an actor. And I just would love it to be more readily accessible to people. My goal with that is actually to potentially help athletes with their endorsement deals.
Yeah.
Because I love me some Mahomes, but like, he's not very good. And I think that for players who are not of the status as Mahomes, if they got better with public speaking and public engagement, then the likelihood of them getting more and more deals would be better. So that's a little goal of mine that I have. I'm also a part of the newest board member for the IFC, which is the local independent filmmaker coalition. And that has been absolutely wonderful, because I've lived in Los Angeles for 8 years. So I've been gone from the Kansas City film community, and it's a way to, one, not only get myself plugged back into the community here, probably unlike I ever have before, but two, make this a community that I want to be a part of, that I feel like I need. And I hope that it's a place that everybody feels welcome and listened to and able to explore and not receive like criticism for exploring their artistry. Because I think that can be the death of creativity a little bit. And we need people to be creative. This community is so, just the artistic community in Kansas City is phenomenal, like jaw-dropping, amazing. Even outside of filmmaking, the art community here is like world-class. And because we are in the middle of the country, you know, it seems impossible for us to do certain things, when I really don't think it is. You know, Atlanta didn't have a lot going on until Tyler Perry really started doing a lot there. And then more and more shows went down to start filming in Atlanta because they got those film incentives. So that's something that I am loving, that I volunteered to get the IFC kind of revamped after the pandemic, because it kind of all, everything went on a standstill. And I think what I've heard from the community is that people want this. People are needing a creative community to get support for their projects and to support one another. I think we're all getting to a point where it's less about a scarcity mindset and more about how do we as a community, as a city, get us on the map, so that the talented people aren't leaving for the coasts, that they're here and people are coming here to shoot.
Right. And just full disclosure, I have also been an IFC board member at one point. So yeah, way back in the day, Aaron Gnurk and David Winger were presidents of the IFC when I was on the board. So, another question that came out: how would you compare the KC film scene to LA, the iconic Los Angeles film scene? How'd you compare the two?
I have found that Kansas City, and this might be local film markets anywhere, but it's so much more accessible. The fact that most people are on Facebook and able to connect with them that way, and it is amazing. It is, I love that we have such accessibility in our community to like reach out to somebody and most likely be able to connect with them, to where in Los Angeles it feels big and scary, and that, you know, these people have all of the power, especially as an actor. You can kind of feel a little bit helpless. But I found in Kansas City, people are much more willing to help you learn, to be understanding, and most people are just doing it for the art of it, versus Los Angeles wanting to get money for their next movie or the Oscar or whatever. It's the people here seem to just want to make films because they love films, and I love that.
And one other thing I'll say about LA, I know KC, big football town. I'm not a Chiefs fan by any stretch of the imagination, but LA, not a football town at all.
No,
Yeah.
I mean they did well this year, so
That team should have never left St. Louis. That's my opinion. That was my team when they were in St. Louis. You know?
oh
Yeah. Warner and Falk, those guys. Yeah, that was the best. And then they got lied out of town, literally lied back to LA. And to quote someone else who's been on this podcast a couple of times now, LA just doesn't give a shit. So.
they kind of give a shit, but mostly just to like have something to go to, not probably for actually watching football.
Right. Go somewhere and from what I've seen, start fights. You never saw that in St. Louis.
That's hard for me to believe. I don't know why.
All right.
I feel like that's just football. Football fights just happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've personally never been in one, so.
Good. I came close once at Arrowhead. So,
Uh-oh. That sounds like a story.
not really.
Oh.
Not really, but that is a discussion for another time. Unfortunately, I do have like 7 minutes left with you before it cuts me off. So, so any closing thoughts before I wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think I just wanted to gloat and about Kansas City, and I just hope that people realize that there are people here that want to help, and that whether you come to the IFC or find another organization, there are organizations who are willing to help you and help you find resources. And if one place isn't right for you, it isn't right for you, and say fuck them and find somebody else, or start your own. Like,
there you go.
I am fully aware that like what works for me might not work for somebody else, and that's 100% okay.
All right, good. And that's a good way to end our time together. So thank you, Jamie, and I will see you at the next IFC meeting. And
Sounds good.
And now we won't have that awkwardness.
No.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
This podcast is Uncalled For is hosted, produced and edited by Mike Chernevsky. Opening music is Cool Hard Facts by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetent.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. The outro music for this episode is Another Day by Ketsa, licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting platform. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/uncalledforpodcast, and check out our blog with show notes at uncalledfor.home.blog. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.